Skinner's SR 63. Senator Skinner, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Chair. Members, I'm pleased to present to you our resolution on the 49th anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in Roe v. Wade. And I'll start with accepting the committee's amendment. There was a good language adjustment. I'm accepting that. I don't want to interrupt, but I will.
Oh, please. Just to make sure that we are on the same sheet of music. Amendments in comment 6 on page 7 of the analysis?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So as I mentioned, 49 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Roe v. Wade that a woman has a constitutional right to privacy, and that constitutional right to privacy includes her right to abortion. Before Roe v. Wade, an estimated 1.2 million women in the U.S. every year resorted to an illegal abortion. And each year, amongst those, unsafe abortions caused as many as 5,000 deaths. Now, low-income women and women of color were disproportionately at risk because they were less able to travel to an area of the country where a safe procedure was being performed, or less likely to have the monetary resources to pay for a doctor. And doctors, and then, even when it was illegal, there were doctors who offered the procedure, but for very high cost. States have, even with that problem of the illegality being fixed by the Supreme Court's ruling in Roe v. Wade, states have continued to chip away at our access to legal abortion and to the reproductive health care services that we need. Just a few months ago, Texas dealt a blow to Roe when they passed SB 8, and it went into effect on September 1st, 2021. In the last year alone, 106 restrictions were passed by various states, and over the last 8 years, a total of 483, so almost 500, new state-level restrictions were enacted and affecting almost 40% of, or rather, accounting for 40% of all the restrictions since the Roe versus Wade decision. Now, if our Supreme Court decides to overturn Roe or allows state bans to remain, it will result in over half of the states in the U.S. to basically deny abortion care access, which means then that the population of those states would be denied that care. Studies show that California could see a very significant, close to 3,000% increase in out-of-state people traveling here to get the reproductive health care services they need. As the committee analysis so accurately states, SR 63 reaffirms California's strong support for every individual's fundamental right to make decisions regarding their own pregnancy and their reproductive health, and it urges the President and Congress to support our constitutional right to abortion, specifically, as well as our access to comprehensive reproductive health care services. And now I'd like to have my witnesses, Molly Robson from Planned Parenthood and Nourbese Flint from the Black Women for Wellness, to testify.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Skinner. Ms. Molly Robson with Planned Parenthood, are you available? Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Hi, Molly Robson with Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California. We represent the 7 affiliates in the state who provide health care at over 100 health centers throughout California. I want to thank Senator Skinner for her leadership authoring this resolution and celebrating the 49th anniversary of the historic Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision, which protects the right to abortion in the United States. We celebrate this anniversary every year, but this year, as you all know, is a little different. There is currently a case before the U.S. Supreme Court that directly challenges the legal protections granted in Roe. Pending the decision from the Supreme Court, it is anticipated that 26 states are likely to ban or severely restrict abortion. As the senator mentioned, that's half of the states in the United States potentially losing access to abortion, which could impact 36 million women and more people who are capable of becoming pregnant. Roe v. Wade is just the floor, and we're fortunate to be in California with leaders who stand with Planned Parenthood and reproductive freedom organizations, and who understand that abortion is healthcare, and that anything less than equitable access will disproportionately affect communities of color, those who cannot afford access to care, and those in rural areas of our state. We will not stop fighting to protect the right to abortion, and we will continue to work to expand access, both for Californians and those who are forced to seek care in our state. Thank you, Senator Skinner, and thank you, Chair, for hearing us today and bringing awareness through this resolution. Planned Parenthood is proud to support SR 63. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Robson. Next, we have Ms. Flint with the Black Women for Wellness.
Hello. Again, my name is Nourbese Flint, and I am the Executive Director of Black Women for Wellness Action Project, as well as the Policy Director of Black Women for Wellness, a reproductive justice organization dedicated to building the political and electoral power of Black women throughout California using an RJ framework. I would like to thank Senator Skinner and the committee for introducing this important resolution that affirms again that California is a state that honors and respects the ability to choose if, when, and how people want to create families. But in this time, I would be remiss not to talk about this particular moment in our state and in our country. This moment where it can be the very well last celebration of Roe v. Wade, what has already been stated that over half of the states in the country are poised to end abortion or severely limit abortion access, a moment that we will know hit low income and women of color especially hard. But in these moments is where California can be a beacon of hope. We have the opportunity to reimagine what full access to reproductive health care can look like, grounded in a reproductive justice values that center dignity. That we can say that Roe is the floor, not the ceiling, and we can do more to address the intersectional and multi-factor needs of birthing folks. We can create a new blueprint of not only what it looks like to have tangible abortion access, but what it looks like to actually address choice at its core, which means tackling the issues that are linked to abortions like housing, fair pay, criminal system, and childcare. That full abortion means that people are choosing abortion because they don't want to be pregnant and not because we as a state have failed to provide the safety nets for our most vulnerable residents. So on this day and in this moment, I ask of this body to look at this resolution as a rallying call on how we can challenge ourselves and our state to redefine choice with dignity at the center, to boldly and courageously be unapologetic in our dedication to autonomy when it comes to birthing people, to say loudly that we will not be silent when the odds are against us. In this moment, we can be the people the next generation can be proud of. Thank you for your time, and we as Black Women for Wellness highly support this resolution.
Thank you. All right. Others who wish to testify in support in the gallery? Anyone in the gallery wishing to testify in support? Seeing none, moderator, before we turn to those on the line, for those on the line, just give us your name, your affiliation, and your position on the bill. Those in support, Madam Moderator?
Thank you. If you wish to speak in support of SR 63, please press 1, then 0 at this time. I currently have no comments in queue at this time.
All righty. Anyone in support on the phone line, Madam Moderator?
I currently have no comments in queue at this time.
All right, let's turn to the opposition. I understand that there are 2 witnesses in opposition, beginning with Ms. Theresa Brennan of the Right to Life League of Southern California. Ms. Brennan, you're present here in the chamber. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chairman Umberg and committee members. I am Theresa Brennan, president of the Right to Life League, America's first pro-life organization, founded in California in 1967. I am not here today to speak to you about the baby in the womb. I am here today to speak to you about women. The truth is, many women seek abortions because they feel they have no other choice. Millions of women are suffering deeply because they chose abortion and regretted it. They will never be able to change their mind and bring that child back to life. So if it is a decision they are making in crisis, it may be a decision that haunts them forever. Planned Parenthood does not provide counseling services for women devastated after abortion. We do. We see firsthand how heartbreaking the aftermath of abortion can be. Guttmacher Institute statistics show that 75% of all women who have an abortion are at or below poverty level. 75%. And the majority are minority women. SR 63 is a travesty. Abortions are overwhelmingly performed on low-income, minority women who have little or no voice. California is offering them free abortion, which has a heavy disparate racial impact, rather than giving them the help they need to make the choice they may actually prefer to have their child. Many women who are availing themselves of what you call a constitutional right are not doing so because they view it as their best option. They are doing so because they view it as their only option. Let's fix that together, not by expanding access to abortion, by providing help mothers need to make the decision they may actually want to make, not the one they feel in a moment of crisis is their only option.
Thank you, Ms. Brennan. Next, we have Wynette Sills, the California for Life organization.
Hello.
Go ahead,
My
Ms.
name
Sills.
is Wynette Sills. Thank you. My name is Wynette Sills, and I serve as the Director of Californians for Life. I am calling today from the public sidewalk in front of our country's largest abortion business, Planned Parenthood. Abortions are done here every Tuesday and Wednesday up to 20 weeks of pregnancy, which is happening as I speak to you today. This is a gruesome, barbaric 2-day procedure which requires the dismemberment and decapitation of the child in the womb. If SR 63 was celebrating the dismemberment and decapitation of so-called unwanted or inconvenient puppies, would you be supporting this resolution? Surely women and children deserve better than abortion. I have met thousands of women who have arrived here thinking that their life circumstances were so difficult that they were considering ending the life of their child. Yet many women will change their mind when given loving help, assistance, resources, and encouragement. In fact, a baby was saved here just a few minutes ago while I was on hold. Just think what this year's budget surplus could do to actually help women solve these oftentimes fixable problems rather than just promoting more and more abortion. We don't end poverty by killing poor children. Women come out of this building walking wounded, some hurting so badly they are barely able to get to their car, leaving many women to suffer from depression, anxiety, panic attacks, nightmares, drug, alcohol addiction, and thoughts of suicide for years to come, especially women who are lied to and told, quote, it's just a clump of cells. We here follow the science. Well, science proves the humanity of the child in the womb. Everyone has heard the sound of a baby's heartbeat. We have all seen the ultrasound images of a baby moving his or her arms and legs, her face, all of which are undeniably human. May the members of our legislature be on the positive, loving, life-saving, pro-life, pro-woman, pro-science side of history. For all of these reasons, we urge each of you to vote no on SR 63.
Thank you, Ms. Sills. All right. Others on the phone line who wish to, well, let me ask in the gallery. Anyone in the gallery wishing to testify in opposition to SR 63? Seeing no one in the gallery. Oh, I'm sorry. One person in the gallery. Go ahead.
Molly Sheehan with the California Catholic Conference in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Moises de Leon from the Diocese of Sacramento in opposition.
Thank you. Others in opposition.
Susan Arnall from the Right to Life League in opposition to SR 63.
Thank you. Others in the gallery in opposition. Seeing no one else in the gallery in opposition, let's now turn to the phone lines. For those of you on the phone, your name, your affiliation, and your position. Madam Moderator, if you would cue them up and let me know how many.
Thank you. If you wish to speak in opposition to SR 63, please press 1, then 0 at this time. And I currently have 1 in queue. I'm sorry, I have 2 in queue now.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Line 54, please go ahead.
This is Penny Harrington from San Diego County in strong opposition. Thank you.
Thank you. It'll just be 1 moment for the next comment.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Line 52, please go ahead. Line 52.
Hi, this is Tony Rosales with Capital Resource Institute in opposition.
Thank you. I have no further comments in queue.
Thank you. Anyone else in opposition on the phone line? No one else in opposition?
I have no.
All right, let's bring it to the floor. Questions or comments on the floor? Seeing no microphones raised. Senator Skinner, oh, I'm sorry, Senator Gonzalez, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to chime in to, of course, express my deep support. Thank you, Senator Skinner, for bringing this forward, not just as a colleague, but of course, as the Vice Chair of the Women's Caucus. 49 years, I think many pregnant people have been fighting for their right to be able to choose what they would do with their own bodies, but we're still seeing over this last year, over 100 bans on the reproductive freedoms that we all should enjoy. And for that, I'll be certainly supporting, and I want to thank Ms. Flint and Ms. Robson as well for their unequivocal support and advocacy. They've been working very hard to ensure that California reaffirms their stance on reproductive freedom. So thank you very much. And I ask everyone to join in support.
Thank you, Senator Gonzalez. Others? Seeing no other microphones raised, no one else wishing to either ask a question or make a comment. Senator Skinner, you care to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was fortunate enough to enter my reproductive years just shortly before, within a few years before the Supreme Court granted me and every other American our full access to our reproductive freedom. So I did not have to confront or face the decision of not being able to pursue whatever reproductive health care I desired and chose. And I can't imagine having lived those years with that hanging over my head. So I'm very, very proud to be a Californian. And I'm very proud that we are a state that has honored reproductive freedom and that we will continue to and support it in every possible way we can. And with that, I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Skinner. Is there a motion? Senator Laird moves the bill. All right. Madam Chief Counsel, if you'd call the roll.
Yes, this is Senate Resolution 63 by Senator Skinner with a motion by Senator Laird. The motion is to be adopted as amended, but first amend and refer to the Senate floor. Umberg.
Aye.
Umberg, aye. Borges. Caballero. Durazo. Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, SR 63 by Skinner, aye.
Gonzalez, aye. Hertzberg. Hertzberg, aye. Jones. Jones, no. Laird. Laird, aye. Stern.
Stern, aye.
Senator Stern, could you say what the measure is? This is SR 63.
Oh, I'm sorry. Stern, SR 63, aye.
Stern, aye. Wykowski.
Aye.
Wykowski, aye. Wiener. Wiener, aye. So far, you have 7 ayes and 1 no, and there's members who aren't